It may surprise some to realize that with all the talk of blockchain, that supply chain management has already been using it to some degree, albeit at its basic level. I find it interesting to note that some of the large consulting firms have stated that oil and gas have been reluctant to move with the times. And yet it is those, whether they realize it or not, that have been actually using a form of blockchain. Let me explain. Some of you may be familiar with systems like LiveLink and SAP. These systems operate in a blockchain fashion. Many large oil and gas companies already allow vendors to access their data, albeit behind closely monitored firewalls. And while this is a simplistic version of the blockchain, it performs in much the same manner. Put simply, a blockchain is a record-keeping mechanism that makes it easier and safer for businesses to work together over the internet. So let's see how it works in this closed environment. An end user identifies a need. The end user sends their requirements through the computer system, creating a block of information, which includes a description, specification, required date, etc. The request is routed to the approver for that request, determined by value, group, or financial rules. The system identifies if there's an existing contract, and if so, generates a purchase order using the details of the contract: vendor, part number, price, and delivery. The system then automatically sends a purchase order. The purchase order is received by the vendor. The vendor's computer system acknowledges the order. The vendor delivers the goods and issues an invoice. The end user acknowledges receipt of the goods, and the system acknowledges receipt of both the goods and the invoice. And if they match, payment is made to the vendor. All of this with no actual need for paper being created or generated. All the data is held within the company's pre-configured intranet system, and all the charges, changes, approvals are recorded and available for audit if need be. As I said, this is an overly simplistic view of a blockchain that can manage the whole transaction from request to contract to settlement, all without there being a need for human interaction other than the data entry. One of the biggest hurdles oil companies had to overcome was allowing its vendors access to their intranet, which was a huge concern for fear of opening access to all of their data. Several companies overcame that fear and put safeguards in place. Those that did experienced huge improvements throughout their supply chain. Now, to be sure, these systems do a lot more, and they are not without challenges and delays. But at its core, the process saves time, and time is money, and that comes at a cost to set up and manage. Fast forward to current day information and data transfer, and you are in the realm of the blockchain distributed ledger technology. So in summary, blockchain is a record-keeping mechanism that makes it easier and safer for businesses to work together over the internet, which is what the two platforms previously mentioned also do. The major difference is that transactions occur behind a firewall, and only those given permission by the owner have access to it.